Hi, my name is Dr. Mara Pierce, and this is my art piece, The Cyclone of Life.
Thank you for letting us talk to you today. My first question is, how does your work exemplify contemporary themes seen prevalent in the art world?
So I believe my piece focuses on two specific prevalent themes today, and I would say that that is identity and place. Specifically because this piece allowed me the process to explore who I am as a hunter in this place of Montana. I'd never hunted before, and when COVID happened, my partner goes, "We're gonna have to learn how to hunt because the food is gonna be gone one day, and you're gonna have to learn how to get your own food." And so that was the impetus. He taught me how to hunt. I first started with deer. And I remember the very first time that I harvested my first deer, one shot, one kill kind of thing, the most humane way you could do it. And then the next season, we took on the turkeys. And it was the same thing. First shot, and we're done. And I thought, okay, I can do this. We ate. We ate our harvest, and we put some away for later. I said, yes, I can do this. We can survive this way.
What was important to you about being able to hunt and feeling like you could do it? Was there a challenge there?
Well, at first, I didn't know how I would handle, you have to, it's called dressing the animal, cutting it open, taking out the meat, knowing that this is going to sustain you. That was important in terms of being able to understand what it meant to be a hunter as opposed to just hunting for sport. So this was an entirely different way of doing it.
So there was a different motivation.
Yes, absolutely.
What motivates you to speak from that perspective?
Probably because in my world, with the exception of some of my students, there aren't a whole bunch of people that I know that hunt. And so really exploring that part of myself within the dynamic and paradigms of where I work, the community in which I live, the people in my apartment complex, people walking down the street, it, number one, helped me find a way to connect to them as well, because there are a lot of hunters in my building, actually, and Montana is known for its hunting. People come from all over the world to go hunting here. And then understanding that I could now support myself if all was lost, the world fell apart tomorrow, I'd be able to go harvest my food and survive.
So those were some of the questions you asked yourself when you were creating this work, which you mentioned was a 4-year process.
Mm-hmm.
So what were some of the other questions you asked yourself during this process?
In the creation of the work itself. So by then I'd had all of the fans, which are the tail pieces, and all of the feathers, and they were sitting in my studio, and they were just begging to be something. I didn't know what yet, but I knew the faculty exhibition was happening, and I also knew the space very well. And I had used this space before in an installation, and it just spoke to me. And then when that happened, I realized that the feathers and the fans and the wings were going to have a place. And so that was something that I was asking myself, would I be able to create that space for them? And so I just let that happen.
You mentioned you wanted to honor their life
Mm-hmm.
as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you see the viewer interacting with your work in this space?
Well, I would love for the viewer to walk around it, feel it in its 360. Best case scenario, they would actually lie down and see the spiral that they create. I was very precise and technical about, there are 24 pieces, and 24 is a sacred number, and so I wanted that sacredness to also manifest in the spiral itself. And so if they could walk around it and see that spiral and understand how the spiral and the cyclone works in their own life, then it would be much more meaningful.
What questions does the Cyclone of Life ask the viewer to consider? And what answers does this piece point us towards? So questions and answers for the viewer.
What is your identity? How does your identity manifest in the world? Or how do you manifest your identity in the world? What does it mean for you? And the responses are up to the viewer. I don't really want to dictate those. Absolutely.
You have said in previous interviews that I found that our pedagogy, so the method and practice of our teaching, is continuously transforming. In what ways has creating this piece influenced your pedagogy?
Paying very, very close attention to cycles of student performance, of student responses, how my pedagogy can be stronger at all times. That's constantly what I'm thinking about, even as I present work every single day. Reflection, persistent, constant, and very strong, authentic reflection.
What are ways that you can have authentic reflection?
By making yourself vulnerable and transparent.
What paths of exploration are you considering for future work?
We were just talking about this earlier. Well, I have thought about what this particular piece would look like in a larger space or someplace different within the space of even this gallery. Not that I would, because I think it's lived its life here, but in a different, the four white walls kind of thing, how it would inform other areas, other spaces, or take away from other spaces. I think it has much more of a commanding manifestation than I anticipated that it would. And so I'm really proud of what's been born here.
One of your titles is cultural practitioner. And there's a lot of elements, I think, that you can see, but in this piece, were there ways that being a cultural practitioner influenced this creation?
Absolutely, 100%. So I'm a cultural practitioner of Dene ways, Dene life ways. Most people know that as Navajo life ways. I practice those cultures every single day with prayers and with speaking to and hopefully hearing back from spirits and trying to guide my work. And this is part of that manifestation. I am constantly asking a piece of art what it wants to be and asking the spirits to help me understand what that artwork needs to be. And I bring that cultural perspective also into my classes. My students get to see it. They don't always jive with it because you're talking two different perspectives here. You're talking an indigenous perspective or an indigenous influence perspective versus mainstream perspective. So it doesn't always jive, of course, but we work with it.
Do you enjoy showing your students that there are multiple perspectives to see?
Oh my gosh, 100%. Yes. Can you imagine if we graduated students with only a single perspective or a single practice, and how their students would lack the benefit of understanding more than one point of view? Oh, I would be so sad. I would stop teaching if that was the only thing that I was allowed to do.
Yeah, that's a real motivation for you.
Yes.
In your work and your teaching.
100%, yes.
We kind of went off script, so I'm just wondering if there's, are there other things that you would like to share about this piece or about your work as an artist or a professor?
Well, one thing that I said during my presentation was that I don't know if I'm finished being an artist or art is finished with me yet. I'm still working with that. Same with being a professor. I don't think you ever know. I think the feedback that you get from students and the feedback that you get from your colleagues, and whether it's at the school or outside of the school, is extraordinarily beneficial to understanding some of those questions. I don't think I'm done with art yet, though.
I hope not.
If I had my druthers, like if I had $1 million, I think that's all I would do, is just go create installations, places. Yeah.
That's the dream.
Right?
Well, I would love to see you sign off in whatever way you feel like you would like to interact with your art and show us.
Okay, here comes the dance.
Okay, we're ready.
All right. So we've got all of these incredible, beautiful pieces harvested and given to us to learn more. The geese feathers, the turkey feathers, these are the wings. We've got the fans. We've got incredible 4 beautiful, these are just like the most incredible feathers I think I've ever seen from geese. And just walking around and just feeling the energy from each one and being thankful that they have touched our lives. Yeah. Thank you.